Yeah, let's jump in. Okay, we are on page Kuf Zayin, Boker Tov, Boker Tov, Kuf Yud Zayin. So let's see what we're holding. What we said is that we are understanding why it is that of all the Yom Tovim and all the Megillas, all the whole Torah, which one stays? Megillas Esther. And the part was that sometimes you're riding on a regular horse, and if you're riding on a regular horse, then yeah, you're riding on a regular horse, then you get somewhere quicker. You get somewhere where you need to go. But then there's Shalom David. But then sometimes you can't get somewhere. Sometimes the ride of life takes you on such a crazy ride that the horse is not going to be good enough. So what do? You're riding on a gazelle. The reason is because when Hashem gave the Torah on a mountain, and a mountain which is able to climb up with a horse. And he said, I'm not giving the Torah on a crazy situation. I'm not ready to give the Torah on mountain which are Baal Gaiva. Then what happened? Then there was no choice because we became Baal Gaiva. So that's what the Shvatim tell Yaakov. We can rise up to Echad even so. And that's what happened over there. So this is what it means, Yisrael betach b'Hashem. Remember translation? Tiach. Yafeh, nachon? Achet abayit, tiach. You have to, Yisrael betach b'Hashem. What's the definition of bitachon? It means you got to cling to Hashem. Cling to him. Ma'amshat cling? That you're on a gazelle and he's going to ride crazy rides. Human beings cannot ride on gazelle unless they cling. Okay, so that's what it means. The Melech that the Shechina goes down with the Mitzrayim. It's right there. Hashem is right in front of you. And sometimes it takes a lot to be able to see him over there. That's why it says Brach lechodoidi. Right? Brach lechodoidi means run away, flee, my beloved. Where to yourself, to find your own self. Etc. So we're holding now on the bottom of column 1 of Kuf Yud Zayin. It said that Yaakov told Yaakov tells Yitzchak tells Yaakov, "Ve'ata brach lecha el Lavan achi." Lama omer brach lecha, run away. Why? Because Lavan referred to Lavan Elvin, the supernal whiteness. What's the whiteness? The whiteness is the absolute clarity. He says you got to run away into that space of absolute clarity. Because you know that it's managed today's Tanya. Here's what today's Tanya says. Just finish it now. Today's Tanya says that the Jews were in he brings a Meraglim story. So the Meraglim, the spies, they denied Hashem. They said that Hashem can't do this. Chazakum imen that Hashem can't do this. And the reason was very simple. They had a whole big explanation. Because because Hashem, when he wants to do something miraculous, he can do. Mitzrayim did miraculously. He wants to do this naturally to get into Eretz Canaan. Is a lo shayach. Then what happened? There's no story there. Then Hashem screaming at them like, "How long are you going to be denying me?" So what do they do? Oh, sorry. They change their minds. They're like, and they don't want they go back to accepting Hashem. So he says, I don't understand. Hashem did not make any kind of miracle in the interim. There's no miracle happened. They said, we deny Hashem. And then he screams at them, what are you denying Hashem for? Oh, sorry. It's become my meaning. So Alter Rebbe asked the Kasha, and he says, he didn't show them anything. There were no miracles, nothing. They just started to believe in Hashem. And the explanation is that a Jew is a mamin. Every Jew believed in Hashem. Why is he not believing in Hashem? Because the Sitra Achra is darkness and it blocks him. And the blockage of the darkness disappears as soon as you turn on the lights. That's all that needed to happen. All you needed to do was turn on the lights. So his vart is that a Jew believes in Hashem. Now you'll see it all the time. Sometimes you have a letter of the Rebbe where he says that the Purim stories I mentioned the other day. He says the Purim story is everything was going amazing. Sometimes in life it looks like things are going bad. It looks like your life's going down. Go and come back, though. You're the meat. So wait till we come. So you're saying the Sitra Achra. The Sitra Achra has the power to rise in front of you and to block you. So sometimes you think in your life things are bad, and they're not bad. He says they're really good, but you don't know about it because you don't see it. One day, you see back the story of the Purim, and you say, "Oh, it was really all good in the first place," and then you realize there was no issue whatsoever. So the trick is, why do you have to wait till it goes bad? Just get excited over it now, right? That's the point he says. Anyway, so bottom of page Kuf Yud Zayin, column 1. Why is it called bricha? Because you're running away from ishtalshelus, from the whole normal of running of things. Look at the second last line. Im kain ukmo boreach min anhogas ishtalshelus chitzaynis shurgulu adachshav. You're running away from the normal order of how you used to till now. Lekabel misham chayut v'inika. Next column. ועכשיו בורח מהם מבחינה שאין שלהם אחיזה שם. You're running away to a state where the Sitra Achra can't attack you. That's why it says, he says, soiv, turn around. It's a very beautiful diuk. We said, what does it mean? Tzvi is, we've dissected every part of this pasuk, right? Again, the pasuk says, soiv, turn around. The melech hadoy, compare yourself, my beloved, to a deer, or a gazelle, al hori basar, on the broken mountains, dafka. So what it meant was that you can't ride on the broken mountains on a cliff unless you have a gazelle, because only a gazelle can ride on a crazy situation, on a cliff. So okay, so get on the gazelle and ride. Yeah? The horse can take you normal places. A gazelle takes you to crazy places. Okay, how do you get on the gazelle? You have to, we said, betach, you have to mamish, like, cling to him. You have to fix yourself to him. That's why it says, soiv, turn around, and that's the brach lecha. Soiv with mei lecha. If a Jew's going to go in the normal order of running things, you'll never get to Hashem. You want to get to Hashem sometimes? When life goes crazy, you cannot explain. If you start asking why Hashem did this to me, what's the reason, what do I have, how do I handle this, what do I deserve, you'll never get an answer. Just jump in and say, everything's good, Hashem is with me, and it's all great. And you jump in and you cling on to this, the gazelle, and then you'll be fine. That's what he's saying. And that's al hori besamim dafka, pirush al hori besamim maderech mashal. So what mazeh harei besamim? We said hori basa is the broken mountain. Now he's saying hori besamim is the fragrant mountains. Al Rebbe explains, adarech mashal sheyesh hori magvoim me'oid. You have very, very, very high mountains, the Kilimanjaros and Everest. Shesham gdelim atze besamim mamishiv b'sanefesh ke'edua. On top of the mountain somewhere, you have fragrant plants that grow there. Smell, scent, is able to get a person back to his senses. So food is something you need to survive normal life. But sometimes food doesn't work. You need a scent, a good smell. Because of the incredible pleasure that you have over there. That's why it says on a person on Yom Kippur and he faints, first thing you do before you give him food is you give him something, some tabak. Hopefully he'll smell it and brings it to your senses. So on top of the mountains, you have this absolute clarity. That's the smell. The calls the dimion lemailo. This is an imagery. What's lemailo? So we're riding on a mountain. Now let's understand. The mountain is not a physical mountain. This mountain that you're climbing, right? What is it? You're climbing to your own inner essence. You're climbing to your own inner self. That's where you're going. Bivchinas gimel rishonis. What's the gimel rishonis? The first 3 spheres. Right? The gimel rishonot. Keser, Chochma, Bina. That's it. What's the Keter? So there's the emotion you're experiencing now. That's the Zoh. The Keser, what's the Keter, Keser is the crown. Who controls you? So the way it works is you're controlled by level 1, you're controlled by. We said there's the children and the parents. The children are the emotions. The parents are the intellect. Right? So the emotions kind of intellect. Yes. Makes sense, right? Think you have an idea and then you have a feeling. Because you think a certain way, that's why you feel that way. So, so the feelings come from the intellect. But really, where does the intellect come from? Why do you understand a particular way? And the answer is, like he says in the Akdam of Tanya, Shammai and Hillel, Shammai always passing the Chumrah, Hillel always passing the Kula. Why? Because the Etzem HaNefesh, the Sherish HaNefesh, was Shammai was inside his soul. Shammai is more of a Machmir, Hillel is more of a Mekel. Which leads you to a question: are they being biased or not? Are you thinking with your seichel? The answer is every person's seichel is different. Shammai uses his seichel, and because inside his soul, his keser is different. That's why he reaches a different conclusion. Yeah. So who controls the way you understand your pleasures? The sense of pleasure that you have, the tainuk and the ratzon that you have, is what controls and guides your path. Follow? So that's the Hori B'Samim. Means you rise all the way. So to rise up the mountain is to rise into your own self. Very powerful. That's what it means when it says in Tehillim, we say Mi Ya'aleh Behar Hashem. Who can ride on the mountain of Hashem? Nekich Hapayim Ubar Leivov. And what does it mean, Bar Leivov? It means when you're clear in your heart. So essentially, the idea is right that the idea is that when you're aligned completely. I saw a beautiful clip by Rabbi Pinson, Rabbi Pinson. So he said that some people have money flowing to them, and some people money flows away from them. Does you know what the difference is? Money is currency, right? Currency is a current. So some people, when the river's flowing, that's the money. He gets and takes a bucket and he sheps some water up. Some guy sheps, he's at a big bucket. He sheps a lot of up. But no matter what he does, he's limited. The other guy jumps into the current and he flows with the current and he drinks from the water inside it, right? The idea being that if you're jumping into the current, it means you're not blocking the flow of divine energy. So you're completely aligned with Hashem. How do you jump into the bucket? It means to look at your own feelings and experiences when you don't have money, and you literally get into a state of believing you don't have money, because the outside world affects you totally. And when you can rise above it, right? I mean, to rise the mountain, al hori b'samim, into that state of oneness with Hashem. That's the hori bossa he's talking about over here, right? They're jumping into these crazy mountains. On top of the mountain, when you get to the top, and you're able to rise above your own emotions, into the intellect, into the etzem atainu that you have. So that I'm not affected by external forces. So everything going wrong outside, and I rise into myself, and I'm accepting Hashem, and I'm still joyous. That's where you rise into your own keser. Makes sense? It's enclosed in the center of the besamim. Orisi, I think, means I gathered the bitter with the what's it called, with the fragrant. It says about Mashiach, these old Mamorim of Achron Pesach, it says he smells Yirat Hashem. What does it smells? The scent is a very deep experience. It's when you rise above. To scent means you're not affected by the outside. You're actually able to smell what's real. The Mashiach is able to get that level. You rise to the Keser all the way, and you rise above Ishtalshus. That's what Yaakov is telling, Yitzchak is telling Yaakov. Run away to Lavan. Run away means don't accept anything on the outside. Esav wants to kill you, Allah Gutazach and everything. Don't accept anything. Run into the sense of oneness with Hashem. That's the bracha. You're going to run away into it. Al Hori B'Samim, to the fragrant mountains. Now we go back to this analogy in the Megillah. Megillah has a funny thing in it. It says that the girls who come in front of Achashverosh, what do? They have to dip themselves, they have to immerse themselves for 6 months in this oil. It's a very disturbing thought when you think about it. Why on earth do I need to know what perfume a girl is wearing when she goes in front of the king? And it's a very exciting part of the Megillah. 6 months in this oil called Mor, and 6 months in the Besamim. So there's a few places I'll teach it. And Tamruki Anoshim is the ladies' whatever perfumes. Why are you telling me about all the lady perfumes? Why do I need to know all the stuff the ladies are wearing? So the answer is because who's the lady? The lady is the neshama. Who's the king? Achashverosh, the Hashem. So when the ladies are putting on the fragrances to get ready to go into the king, what are they doing? They are it's a neshama getting ready to stand in front of Hashem. Is what a yid, a Jew, is doing when he wants to get connected to Hashem Yitbarach. Which means וכך יובן בבחינת הרי בסמים למעלה. This is what it means. ברח לך דודי על הרי בסמים. So בבחינת פנימיס אוין הגאלין, to rise to the pnimius of the pleasure of Hashem. ולשם העלאת השכינה מן הגולוס והאסתר. That's how you get the shechina out of this golus and concealment. כמו אם העמק לגבוה הורה יסר נעלה, like rising from the valley into the highest mountain. שוב בדרך דילוג, שלא על פי הדרגה כלל, it's rising בדילוג without the הדרגה, without the limitation. Everyone hopping this bar, that's a phenomenal thing. It's, you know, when it says in Tehillim that Mi ale behar Hashem, nikish chapayim uvar levov, it seems to be saying, okay, you want to rise the mountain of Hashem, so you have to first clear your heart. No, the pshat is, if you clear your heart, that is how you rise the mountain of Hashem. Ascending the mountain of Hashem means with a clear heart.
What's the difference?
That's not pshat. If you clear your heart, you can rise the mountain of Hashem.
It's when you clear your heart, you rise.
Yeah. Told you, I listened to this meditation. It's such a beautiful meditation. I mentioned it a little while ago. He says, this is what he says. It's an IFS meditation. He says, you're going to look at yourself as if you're standing on the bottom of a mountain and you want to go up the mountain. You want to climb up. So it's in your head. Now, you're looking at yourself and you're seeing that there's different parts of you which are blocking you from climbing. Who's blocking you? It's beliefs that are blocking you. So you ask Chris, you see one part of you is angry because this business deal didn't work. One part of you is stressed out. Another part's humiliated. Another part is disappointed. Another part's excited. They're all little piece of you. And what you want to do when you rise up the mountain is to look at each part and tell them, okay, I got you. It's hard, difficult. Let me rise up anyway, right? And you talk into them, and as you just by looking at them. So in today's Tanya, he actually deals with that. He says that's what he's talking about. He says the Yetzer Hara has no power. When you get a person who says, my life is falling apart, it's a shambles, my marriage is falling apart, my business is falling apart, everything is falling apart. It's not. It's just in your head. Even if it actually is sometimes falling apart, it's in your head. Rest assured, as soon as your head is strong, everything disappears. So he says, you ask all these little parts of you to let you rise up the mountain. And I'm thinking about this in a holy way, in a Torah way. I want to daven. When I want to daven, I go to, we learned that in the Maimon of Beshalach, right? You got to go to the bathroom before you daven. So what does it mean to go to the bathroom? It means to excrete. Excrete what? Right? Excrete all the negative thoughts. So you got to look at what negative energies are currently blocking me. What negative energies are currently blocking me? And to find the negative energy blocking you. And then once you discover them, now you say, would you mind if I go up and I daven right now? You ask them for a shush to daven, and then you rise up. The rising up, you're not going on a tour. What you're going is you're able to rise up into daven. So it's like Mi ale behar Hashem is to rise up and be able to daven. Yeah, that's so what he's saying is over here is to get to the core kind of Hashem. Today's Tanya, he says that every Jew believes in Hashem. Every Jew is a maimed. So whatever you say, my life is a mess, I don't believe it, everything's falling apart, and whatever, that's all fake news. It's all your fakeness. And when you let go of each feeling, you rise up. Al harei besamim. On the mountain, you'll discover beautiful fragrances. No thoughts, anyone? Okay.
So what's it going back and forth? First you're going down, then you're going up.
I mean, he didn't discuss going down. He said going down is life.
The Alter Rebbe has a child. There's two psukim in the Shiur. And then the Perik base says, the first part we're learning. And the last pasuk in Shiur says, the last pasuk, Brach doidi, so what are you doing? You brach doidi, you're going to Aribaser, or you're going to Aribasamim? It sounds like you first have the Aribaser.
The way I understand it is that running to Aribaser is when you fall down, and when you feel like life is falling, so cling onto the deer, and you'll be able to ride the cliffs of life, and you're able to get through the crazy things in life. And there's the other part, which is the when you get there, you'll see that it's already summer and it all smells good. Just you didn't notice the smell. I think it's saying pretty much the same thing. One is when things are bad.
The Brach doidi goes with the Har B'Samim. That's the pasuk Har B'Samim. Brach doidi udmeilach al Harei B'Samim. But the first part wasn't brach doidi. First part where you're on hari basar. How you control the hari basar. Then
So how do you understand the difference?
That's what you said at the beginning.
So what are you saying? You're saying they're different? How do you understand the difference?
So he said the second line count to Zesh betchila am begins he read them a mile mat so the when see over boss dafka.
Right.
It's Allah me mat la mile man they'll see over some dafka. So there's a way there of begins he read la mat then mat la mile, right? There's two parts there.
Yeah. That's true. So he's saying first of all, when essentially when life falls apart, first of life falling apart. That's the hari basar, and you're stuck. You're falling down a cliff. So at that point, what do? You cling to Hashem.
You cling to the gazelle, right?
Right.
Then brach doidi, holding the gazelle, brach doidi. Now he's running back up. And he runs back up, and you're clinging to it, and brach doidi runs back up. You reach the hari basar. You reach Loitman alien. That's I think the last part was Yaakov was busy struggling with Esav, right? There's the Lumazet, the clip of Lumazet. So Rivka tells him, run away to Loitman alien. You have to go away to hard in the Shtalshlish, the Keser. You can't just sit and wrangle with the Toiv and the Ra. You're fighting. You're never going to win like this one. You have to cling and run heck of in the Shtalshlish. Something like that. That's the dimming of it.
Right.
The last...
It's basically two pieces. One is when life is falling apart. The one is when life is falling apart, right? And you're clinging to Hashem, and then you start getting into a space of you cling to Hashem means you accept anyway, and then that gets you to an absolute clarity. I mean, you discover that life is all besamim, it's all fragrant. It's not that much different in terms of the avodah. The avodah is to cling to Hashem.
Yeah, but I think
going up.
I think today's Tanya, what you're saying, right? There's the avodah of yesterday, 2 days ago.
What did you say, sorry? Today's Tanya?
I think we could explain it to Perikles that's Tanya, right? 2 days ago, we're talking about Vachalei. When you're doing Vachalei, you're reasoning with the clipper. There's a reasoning going on with the clipper, right? But sometimes, now the second one, Yarmal, V'koylash Gadol, At-Torah, Meshukas, right? Why wasn't the next part time, which is yesterday and today's time, is talking to them, saying, well, no, I have nothing to do with you, Klipper. I have nothing to do with you, Nefesh Bahamas. You're bad, you're alive. So there you're above, rise above it sometimes. You can't just reason. The Meratzon can't just be from 2 days ago reasoning with him in the Klipper, because it's not working. So you have to rise above it and say, you're not me. Same thing here, maybe.
Yeah, in that sense, by the way, it's the same. I have to tell you, I don't understand the Tanya in terms of Avodah. Perikles Tes is very difficult for me to understand. I don't get it. Because what he's saying is you've got to scream at her. And in our language today, that's called shaming her. So you got to look at the other side of you, and you got to shame it. You got to say, what are you doing? Why are you blocking me from Hashem? I don't know if you ask me experientially. I mean, there's only one part of it that works. Is sometimes you got to shape up, like, I mean, stop it. You're good. But in terms of the avodah, it's much easier to give it compassion. That you're struggling. If you scream at yourself, you shame yourself, it just goes crazy.
No, I think today's time
there is an element to it.
Today's time you're not shaming yourself. Not shaming yourself. You're saying, I'm not you. I'm Nefesh Elokis. I'm not you. You're Nefesh Bahamas. You're not me. You're the bad part. I don't want to be you.
Right. So basically, you have. Let's define how that works in terms of over here. I mean, you're struggling in life. You have no parnasa. So part of you says, I'm such a loser, I'm so bad, I'm so whatever, and all that. I was telling you, you're just saying that because you're a little bit stuck in, just get collected to Hashem, scream at her and say, stop blocking me from Hashem. I mean, but really, I think a better way to do it would be to empathize with the other part of you and say, listen, you're having a hard time. It's very difficult to make a parnasa and it doesn't make sense and you're struggling. Just notice her and separate from her, and then she disappears. But really, I'm saying that it's not just about noticing her, it's about screaming at her. I'm just saying the difference between noticing and screaming, giving her empathy and screaming at her.
But maybe the point is when the noticing is not working.
Well,
maybe that's the point. When the noticing, when it's not working, you're trying to reason what Mark is saying. When you're noticing, you're talking, you're empathizing. But at the same time, it keeps having a shlita over you. It's very hard to divorce yourself from that part It's causing you. You can't get to that point. Let's just say. I think that's what the Baal Tanya is saying. Okay, at a certain point, if you're not able to escape it, you have to cast it aside. You have to. You have to go against IFS. I hate to say it, Rabbi, but you have to go above IFS and just say you're actually not a part of me. I'm not. I don't have to understand you. You're sabotaging me. You're causing me problems. Get away from me. Maybe at a certain point, if the reasoning is not working, that's what you have to do. If you're able to reason, that's step one. If you're able to accomplish it, but if you can't, and you keep getting stuck, or it's not working because you're not able to divorce yourself, you mamish have to cherem it. You have to cast it aside. I know that's not what IFS wants to say, but IFS is not God at the end of the day. I mean, this is the way I think about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes sense. It's hard to. There's the point to it is at some point you can't. Everything's unconditional love and great and you're sweet and don't worry, you never grow anywhere. You have to at some point say to yourself, okay, I'm doing this. This is happening. I'm going to change the way I believe. Just a screaming at her part. I'm just saying experientially. She shamed herself. She goes, oh God, she goes crazy.
I know psychology won't. It's a little hepech from IFS because the whole point shame is a terrible thing that we're taught because that causes trauma and we can't deal with it. But at the end of the day, right? But at the end of the day, if it's not working and you keep going to the same addictions, the same thing. Let's just say somebody has addiction, looking at things not supposed to. Let's just say, so or whatever. So the person understands, he has a type and is reasoning with it. But every night he goes on his phone and looks at things he's not supposed to. At a certain point, you have to say, get away from me, you taiva. You're not who I am. I'm connected to God. You go malam in abdas, the malam in atav. You just got to cling upstairs to the gazelle to jump out of it. You just need to break
most people do this. Most people do it. Like, you ate too much a day, and at night you get onto the scale, and then you scream at yourself, why'd you eat so much today?
Yeah, it's the rage regret.
But then the next day,
people go through
it in real time, not
You feel guilty.
you feel guilty.
But people go through the same cycle. That's the problem. Sometimes you have to break the cycle. You just have to, not genug, whatever. Otherwise, all you're doing is rage regret, yo-yo. And if people go through this all the time, whatever their issues are, anger management issues, so many things people deal with. At a certain point, about time is telling you, okay, you got to tell that part of you is, you're not me, get away from me. You have to get angry. You have to use maybe that same taiva. But that same emotion.
I agree with you. You keep telling yourself, okay, it's okay, I'll try. You're being nice to yourself. It could work, but also can not work. At one point, be like, okay, right. What are you doing? Like, I think that's
right.
Yeah.
Is that what Tehillim is saying? Rigzuva al techato. Is that where it comes from?
That's exactly what it is. I'll quote that pasuk. That is the pasuk it quotes, chapter 29.
I wasn't sure. But I was wild. It's wild because the other day, the Tanya and the Tillim had the same pasuk. I can't believe it.
Yep. He quotes that pasuk.
But it was the same day. But it was the same kavias.
Yeah, I think it's designed that way, by the way. But,
what do you mean? I thought the Frierdiker Rebbe set it up like 100 years, 50 years ago. I don't know. No? Wasn't it? I mean,
he did divide years ago. Yeah. Anyway, but over here, it seems to be over here, when he says, Barach lecha alari besamim, he's much more into the fragrance. Right? Anyway, but yes, what we're learning of your bottom line is that there are, that when you're in a bad space, there are parts of you that are in a bad space, and what you want to do is separate yourself from them and cling to Hashem. So this is the fun. The ride of life is that it's like making a parnasa. And the Rebbe's point is that when parnasa goes haywire and goes crazy, and you can't explain it, remember the Purim story. It looked like it was going haywire, but he wasn't. Hashem was just in control the whole time. And you want to get that in real time before it happens. Just cling to Hashem, stick to the thing, and ride the mountain. What does that mean? Goes up, it goes down. I lose a deal, I make a deal. I just ride absolute joy the whole way through. And then you'll discover that Hashem was able to reach places he wasn't able to reach before. So, yeah. So this is what it means that he doesn't explain why 6 months. He just explains that you got to dip yourself in besamim. What's besamim? Besamim is the fragrance of being attached to Hashem. So you're rising from the valley into the mountain. To such a high, lofty place. Like it says in Azinu, that the eagle, he carries him on his pinions, on his sides. So the eagle carries you, Hashem carries you on the sides. So this is very powerful. The normal way of being connected to Hashem is called Ramach Evarim. The mitzvot. So the normal way is to be connected to Hashem through the mitzvahs. Sometimes you got to carry Hashem above the mitzvahs. Like when a person wants to get reconnected to Hashem through tshuva. So that's what it means. He's talking about tshuva. He rises above him, above his sides, above his 248 limbs. Shall they keep mitzvahs? Golus is tshuva. Golus brings you to tshuva. So sometimes the things which are blocking you, the galut, he gets you more connected to Hashem than ever before. That's the tshuva. In their way, tshuva can stand, outside the Gomer can't stand. Lama. Because they go down to the worst place. So when you are struggling in life and you think everything's going bad, it's not. It's Hashem sending you on a mission to bring Elokus down and bring it back up. Shem Gimel Klipot. And when you do this, this elevates you all the way back up to Keser. Above Torah. So the whole question is, when the guy asked the Rabbi Milizhensk, he says to the Rabbi, Ech ani yoseh tshuva? Amen. He said to him, Ech ata oseh avera? When you do an avera, you didn't ask me. So you just did the avera. Ech osim tshuva? Don't ask. You just say, Hashem, I'm stuck with you anyway. And that's the clinging to Hashem. So when you have the Ramach Evarim, you do them the normal way of clinging to Hashem by doing mitzvahs. You didn't do the mitzvahs, you messed up. What now? Now you get reconnected. Because you can rise to the highest level you can ever imagine. Before, you see it very clearly in life, right? And when things go haywire and you're going crazy in life, right? And actually, those moments, which are the most difficult moments of life, they force you into a relationship with Hashem, which is unparalleled. And that's the Sov, turn around into the Sov of Kol Almin, Al Harei Besamim. Turn and go right onto the top of that mountain. So this Jew who's on the bottom and struggling and suffering, and he's all his addiction and his worries, he is on the highest level possible. You got to just turn around and cling to Hashem, right? So the avoid is to stand firm. The feelings are going to come your way. Addiction teaches you, right? There's a wave that rises. It's a wave. It's an incredible wave. And if you just notice the wave as it goes, that tremendous addiction, right? I mean, that's what is addiction? Addiction is the solution, not the problem. Means I'm unhappy with myself, therefore I go to an addiction. So don't work on the addiction, work on the happiness of yourself. Work on, when you find yourself in a depressed state, sit there in that space. And then discover, right, that Hashem is still inside you. You probably need help from people to do it. So that's what it means. And we find the same thing, smell tshuva. It says by Yaakov Avinu, what does it say? When he walked into Yitzchak, Yitzchak smelled reach begadav. Ma ze reach begadav? Remember that mimer over there? Begadav reach bogdav. Your clothing is called clothing. Why? Beged and boged is the same word. So it says, the Medrash says that Yaakov Avinu smelled, Yitzchak smelled, the two people like Yosef Meshiso and Yokum Ish Tzeres. And the story was there was one of the Tanaim was about to be killed, and his nephew was there, and he said to him, why are you getting killed for Torah mitzvahs? You should be like me. And then in the end, the Choyte was also Meisa Nefesh. Or the other story there about the guy who walked into the Kodesh, the Beis Hamikdash, the Goyim sent him in, took out the menorah, and then he regretted it. And they killed him and they tortured him to death. And as they tortured him to death, this guy who had, he did tshuva over there. There's a beautiful, stunning, amazing sikha of the Rebbe about Miriam Bas Bilga. You heard that sikha? Miriam Bas Bilga is a story in the Gemara where this says that there were 24 mishmarot tuna. So one of them was Bilga. And Bilga was locked up because Miriam was a daughter of Bilga's family. And what she did was, when the Goyim came in, she went and married the Stradiut. She married a Goy, a Greek. And then when they came in, she walked onto the Mizbeach and she kicked the Mizbeach. And when the Goyim walked in, she came with them. So when they came back after, they locked her out. They said, the whole family of Bilga, because they cannot come in. But what did she say? She said, Lukus, Lukus. She called him wolf, wolf. How long can you destroy the money of the Israel? Because look, you're such a faker. When the Mizbeach is meant to atone for the Jews, and look, when the Goyim walk in, you don't even help them. So you see, we the Greeks are the victorious ones. So when you read the story in the Gemara, it looks like it was she was a traitor, right? When the Rebbe tells the story, he says we got to talk something good about Miriam Masbilga. Look what she did. She's this girl who married out, and she went against her people. She married out the faith, and she was helping the Goyim. But when it comes into the Mizbeach, what does she say? She screams at the Mizbeach. She says, "You faker, Mizbeach, wolf, wolf! How long are you destroying the Mamonim Shel Yisrael?" She was like, "Why didn't you help the Jews?" In other words, deep down, she wasn't screaming at the Mizbeach. She was upset. Why are you not helping the Jews? So when
Can I ask you a question?
The Bogdim are really. So Yitzchak smelled Vayarach et Reach Begadav. He smelled them, right?
The question is the Rebbe being like, I don't want to be disrespectful, but is the Rebbe being like naive, optimistic, or just learning from what could have possibly been? Or do you really think the Rebbe believed that?
What do you mean?
I'm saying most Mefarshim and the Gemara, clearly there's Pshat and then there's Side. The question is, are we trying to learn how to see the good, or is it really possibly that she meant it?
The answer is very simple. When you have a marriage and 99% is hurtful and difficult, but 1% is good, right? So that 1%, if you hone in on it, you can increase it. So in other words, what the Rebbe is doing is saying, in our generation, we want to. Of course, she was bad. She was an evil person. But if you find her neshama, then her neshama gets freed.
Don't speak Lashon Hara, because you could always bring out the opposite. Chas v'shalom. Only speak the good, and you make the kid better.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, and then in this, and answer your question, why didn't we have this kind of thing before? I think there's something. I gave a share the other day, and I posted today, Mr. Shem, on the YouTube. But it's about. Wait a minute, it's the Maimon that we just learned. Sorry, the Maimon we learned before. Right, that's the answer. The Maimon we learned before said that Haman was killed, right? And Haman was killed. When Haman was dead, what happened? So now, the Gzeir of Haman was at large. Haman was dead, and the Gzeir, the decree of Haman remains another year. So the story of Purim happened on Pesach. And then until Yud Gimel Adar the next year was a whole Gzeir. So the Rebbe, Alter Rebbe explains, so what it means is that sometimes the Gzeir of Haman is no longer. In other words, nothing bad is happening to the Jews. No one wants to kill you. See, once upon a time, we had people want to kill us all the time. And they persecuted us, and they were murdering us, and pogroms and whatnot. Sometimes it was difficult, right? And inside there was a problem. You had hunger, you had no food, you had no money, couldn't live a normal life. People died of hunger. My great-grandfather died because the Turks killed him, because of whatever, and then his wife died. He was 21, and his wife died 2 years later from no food in Yerushalayim. So today we don't have those issues. So what are the issues? Everything's fine. Ma baya? Oh, I don't know, ma baya. Ma baya. You have money, you have food, you have shelter, you have everything you want, you have safety. Jews are powerful. Yeah, you have anti-Semitism, but it's not the same. You live a normal life, still good, right? Ma baya. Abayai, I mean, that's what it says. And one day there's come a time. This I think we're Mashiach times. The reason why all these IFS things and therapy is coming up, because we live in a generation where there are no problems other than existential loneliness. And Neshama wants Hashem. That's all there is. So in our generation, it's Mashiach times. It's okay. So what is the problem? Well, the problem is I'm just feeling disconnected. I don't know what's happening to me. That's amazing. That means all you got to do is rise above it. So once upon a time, you were dealing with so many issues, you have to deal with them. Now there are no issues. What are you dealing with? The issue is yourself. Just get into a good space and you'll be happy. No, you have to look what the other guy has, what he has, then we go crazy. That's what's happening in our generation too. So it's actually a mile, not a historian.
But back in the day, they weren't dealing with any of these issues? Like they didn't have, I'm sure there's people who have
No, they were dealing with trying to find food to eat. Trying to not get killed by the guy next door. And trying to make a living when they're blocking you everywhere from making a living. Because you can't go there, you're not allowed to go do this, you can't do it. Wherever Jews lived, if they lived in Poland or in Taiman or in Morocco or in France, England, everywhere. Right, that was what Jews experienced.
But it says that it says Vayishman Yeshurun Vayivat. When you have everything, you kick. So if we know that that's an issue, then why is Hashem putting us in this?
Hashem wants a connection. A Jew has a power today to bind himself to Hashem. This whole mimer is what's this mimer about? Now, once upon a time, there used to be everything was good. Then what we fell down. So Matan Torah was given Amen al Har Sinai. Then you fell into Harei Batel. Maze Harei Batel of the broken mountains. That's now. And Galule Edom Shechina Yamayim. Galule America Shechina Yamayim. Means even when you go to there, the Shechina is with you. Not just with you, but you can actually rise to a higher level than in Matan Torah. So that's our generation, right? The Rebbe's last mimer that he said was a mimer of Atat Tzaveh, but that's a Purim Katan mimer. What he said was that when you want Mashiach because things are bad, that's one thing. When you want Mashiach, nothing's bad, everything's good. And why do you want Mashiach? Because I can't handle life. That's why. Because I yearn for emes. Now we're talking. That's our generation. It's an incredible thing.
But what happened, like, let's say, like in Germany, back over there, like they also had everything. They had everything and they didn't do this tikkun, I guess. No?
This is what it says, when the Baal Shem Tov came into the world, he said that the Baal Shem Tov came, he said, for two reasons. I mean, where was Chassidut until now? So he explained that there were two things happening. Until now, it was hidden. Lama? Because the closer you get to the new city, well, you start seeing the lights of the city. So the closer you get to Mashiach, the more revelation there is in the world. That's now. It was the last 200 years, but getting closer and closer and closer, the light's getting increasing. So in Germany was there too, but now it's getting closer. The second reason is because when you have darkness, so before you had AIDS, you didn't need a cure to AIDS. Before you had cancer, you didn't need a cure to cancer. Before you had all the crazy things we have today, you didn't need a cure to them. So now the darkness is so bad, Chassidus is the answer to this. It was also in Germany, just more now. We're getting closer. Anyway, so that's the Maimon. The Maimon is about clinging to Hashem, and then you discover that you can actually ride places. Yisrael betach b'Hashem, and Hashem is revealed to you in a way that never was in generations before. The only reason you were able to rise is because you were able to lower yourself. In other words, when the ride of life gets so intense and you're thrust about this way and that way, and you have no idea what's flying in my life and what's going on, and it looks like the worst moments, right? The moment of despair is actually the moment of absolute clarity. When you lose touch on yourself and you say, Hashem, I'm in your hands. Boom. Revelation. That's the ultimate. This is what it means. If you merit to have a different Achishen, I'll hasten the coming of Mashiach. That's why, by the way, the king of the Megillah is called Achashverosh, Acharit Vereshik, the beginning and the end. The highest level and the lowest level are all one with Hashem. Okay. In Chabad, there's only one song you sing on Purim. You don't sing V'napachu, you don't sing Al Anisim, you sing Vahibi me Achashverosh, Achashverosh, Moilech me'oid be'at kusheva be'esimu me'amedina. What are you so excited about? It wasn't the days of Achashverosh, he is Achashverosh, who rules over 127 countries, 127 countries. You go crazy over that song. What are you getting excited about? Well, if you understand who Achashverosh is, you have what's going on. Vahibi me Achashverosh means that there's a king, there's an Eibishter. Acharit Vereshit Shelo. Who Achashverosh, he rules over Hodu be'at Kush. Hodu is when you model Hashem, when you understand Hashem, right? Kush is when things are dark. So he rules over the whole thing from beginning to end, all the countries, everything is there. Hashem is control of everything. So it's another way of saying Ein Levad. Basically, those words. Anyway, moving along. Gimel.
Say we sing and we dance to the song because even though you were a king and you thought you were so big, we still got you.
Yeah, correct. That's on a low level. That's how I express itself in the world, sure. But what it means is in Avodat Hashem, who is Achashverosh? Ubira, I want to explain this. How is it that through lowering yourself into Harei, like what we said before, when you lower yourself to the Harei Bater, in other words, when life goes crazy and you have no idea, and Parnasa and whatever, and all these things are wacky, and with children, who knows? God help us. You're actually rising and then you rise to the fragrant mountains. In other words, in the lower space, you discover what a beautiful smell. Understand this better. We've quoted this in the mind a few times already. Hashem says, Uzrati ali ba'aretz. What does that mean? You are a seed underground. Stop looking at yourself as a failure and look at yourself and say, wow, Hashem took a seed, put it underground, and we're going to get a tree out of this. So every time you're in sorrows, you're in trouble, and you're stuck, you say this pasuk, Uzrati ali ba'aretz. You're not stuck. Hashem took an neshama, put her into the addiction, put her into the parnasa woes, and all the things. What does he say? Cling to me, Yidaleh. Betach b'Hashem. And then you'll discover brand new trees grow. It's incredible. So Chazal say, the only reason we were exiled among the idol worshippers is so that we could add more. Add what? We don't want to look for converts. These are the sparks which fell from Toyub, and you refine them. So when you eat and drink, you are contributing and adding sparks. The Exhibit says, he sets up the border of the nations. Man.
You eat and drink anywhere.
The only reason Hashem makes you eat and drink, and you have to eat and drink wherever you are, is because there's sparks in the food and drink. So the physical and the spiritual align. Because a Jew who's a spiritual being has no choice but to engage in the physical world, that's because Hashem makes it work that way. It's like when the Rebbe Rayatz left Russia. So what happened was, he was kicked out of Russia. That's what happened. He was in prison, they put him in prison, and after they put him in prison, when he got out, he chapped that they're going to put him again. In other words, the Yefsektia was still at large, and they were going to catch him again. And so he was advised very clearly, get out as soon as you can. If you don't get out now, we're going to be put in prison right away. So he quickly went out, and they let him out of the country. Right? So when he gets on the train, he gets out, gives a mind. And he gives sikha. And what he said was that they think I'm running away because they're pushing me away, because I'm being expelled. The real reason I'm running away is because there's no more sparks for me over here, and Hashem moved the sparks from here to over there. So Hashem guides a person. Stop looking at the external story of what's happening. The real story is Hashem is guiding you. And if you start looking at every moment of the time, you made a stupid mistake, and because of that, you're messed up. A guy got divorced or whatever, and his wife's messed up. Hashem sent me here. That's the word. Right? When you have to eat and drink, it's Hashem sending me here. So I want to finish the page here quickly. So Yatzei Gvulot Amim means that there are set boundaries. There's 70 nations of Yaakov. V'chol sar v'sar, every ministering angel, yesh lo shoresh elyon adruma ma'alot. Every single one of the princes and has a set task and a goal. There's 70 nations, 70 borders, 70 nations. And what do they represent? There's 6 kings that ruled over Olam Hato in right after parentheses. And there were seven kings first. If name actually 8, but the 8th one didn't die. It says 7 died. These are the 7 powers of the world, and they divided into 70. So basically, there's these kings who rule over the Edom, which means there's powers of the world that control you. You have no choice. You are controlled by the fact that you need to make a living. You are controlled by the fact that you need to eat and drink. You are controlled by the Dina de Malchuta Dina of America. Don't get sucked in by that. You're actually in control. Hashem put you there for a reason. If you look in the parentheses, two lines earlier, he says, there's an Ayin Tluyade Chasamena Chazir Miya'ar. So it says the middle word in the Tehillim, middle letter of Tehillim is mi ya'ar. So the ya'ar, the ayin, is a big ayin in the Tehillim. The reason is because it represents 70 nations. 70 nations are chazir mi ya'ar. Just get rid of him and you'll discover everything's fine. So, okay, we'll stop there for tomorrow. So Maskana the Milsa for today, that we were exiled to the nations and all the problems we have. It's not a problem. It's basically Hashem giving us opportunities, and all you got to do is start recognizing how great these opportunities are. And if you cling to Hashem and the craziness, then you discover that you got to a higher place you could ever imagine without it, because these wacky situations get you closer to Hashem. Zero. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.